Greetings to all watching and listening to this episode of Chezuba Talks. I'm Tej, and with me today is Gisele Garraway. Gisele is the founder of a nonprofit called Thrive Funds. Thrive Funds is a technology based nonprofit, and their mission is to invest in the infrastructure of America's working families to increase opportunity and economic mobility for all. Let's find out how. Welcome to Chezuba Talks, Gisele.
Thank you, Tej. So nice to spend some time with you today.
Lovely. Gisele, I was just looking at, researching a little bit about America's working families, and I found out that a 2023 survey conducted by payroll.org highlighted that 78% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, and that is a 6% increase from the previous year. So, are you at Thrive Funds trying to reduce that kind of situation for Americans?
Absolutely. Americans are stressed, but in particular, low income families with limited or no assets are particularly stressed. Despite the fact that the U.S. is the wealthiest nation in all recorded human history, you're right. There are about 50 million households that are struggling with material poverty. And so, in particular, Thrive Funds is focused on those families that are sort of stuck. So, there are about 16 million families that fall below what the government calls the federal poverty line. And those families are eligible for help from the government for survival resources, food, housing, or medical care. But the vast majority, 34 million households in the US, are what we call working poor. And they are the ones that are at this time really quite stressed.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that different states have different policies in terms of, taxes or in terms of finances. So, how does your model work across the states?
That's a great question. A low income working family looking to thrive in California, in the Bay Area, looks very different from a family looking to thrive in Indianapolis, Indiana. And so what Thrive Funds does is we partner with community-based organizations that are already working with low-income families, with working poor families. And so we rely on our partners who we vet first, but we rely on our partners to identify those families that are really on the brink. And again, our goal is to ensure that we provide supports to these families before they hit an economic emergency, because these are families who don't have that emergency savings. They don't have that rainy day fund. So a flat tire or a couple of unpaid sick days can really equal catastrophe for these families.
Right. So, could you tell us a few examples of what kind of families come to you for help, and how do you help them?
Right. So again, we work with our community partners, and the partners identify families that are having economic challenges but cannot get resources in other places. In the US, this is known as the benefits cliff. So they make a bit too much to qualify for that government assistance, but not enough to save, and typically not enough to invest in the things that are requirements today, like transportation, childcare, elder care, technology. If you don't have those things in place, it's typically very difficult to work more hours, or get that next level job. So what case managers do is they help the head of the household identify what resource could really help their family's monthly budget. And so we have families that request things within those 4 categories of support: transportation, tech, family care, or career advancement. And that could mean something as simple as gas cards, monthly gas cards. $100 of gas cards can be huge. Some folks have requested laptops so that they can take a course to improve their skills and apply for a next level job, or even something as simple as a work uniform. Steel toe boots are very expensive, and if you don't have the tools that you need to work, you're not able to earn. Mobile phones. Many folks who work hourly jobs, the way you get your work schedule is your boss sends it to you on your cell phone. And we know that cell phones are not cheap. So again, we focus on providing practical resources that the families themselves identify. We don't believe that there's a one size fits all for every family. So we really work to listen to the families. So we really are more like a listening platform, if anything.
Yeah, that's what's missing in today's world. Actually, people willing to give a patient ear. So, suppose a family comes to you and says, I need a gas card for this month or this week. Now, is it a one-time help that you offer, or is it some kind of solution for a sustainable financial stability?
Right. So again, in each geography that we operate in, we first listen to case managers and say, what is it that you're hearing from the families that you work with? What is it that these households need most? And we curate a menu specific to a geography. And then within that menu, you're right. There are two types of supports. There's one-time supports, and then there are ongoing supports for a 12-month period. So examples of one-time supports: a laptop, a mobile phone, maybe tuition for a specific skill for a course. And then the recurring benefits are things like monthly gas cards or internet service.
Correct. So, if there is a recurring service, then is there a criteria there? I mean, a family could always say, no, okay, this part of my expenses is taken care of by Thrive Fund, so I need not worry about it. Does that happen?
So the goal is, again, that case manager is already working with this head of household. And what is really amazing to me is the discipline and cost control that already exist in many of these families. So they're quite savvy about the resources that are coming in and the resources that are going out. And so typically what we find is families are really focused on trying to build an emergency savings. One of the questions that we ask families when they enroll, the enrollment happens online. So we collect a lot of interesting facts about the families that enroll with us. And one of them is we ask a very simple question: does your household have access to $500 in emergency savings? And for families that enroll in Thrive funds, to date, 90% of them say no, we don't have $500 in savings. So you can easily see how, again, unpaid sick days, a flat tire, any sort of life mishap can mean taking from one bucket of very important resources and moving to another.
Yeah,
So
and
our
then
hope is that they would in
true.
turn build a savings.
Got it, got it. So, is there a process? Is there somebody in your staff who is um, educating these families on how to save up or how to upgrade themselves? Or, people need to find opportunities also to better their situation. So, is
Absolutely.
there some kind of counseling done? Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So what you're describing these are important criteria for who we work with as partners. We're almost more of a business to business or agency to agency model. So before we agree to work with a partner, a community partner, we ask them what are the supports that they provide families. And most of our partners provide financial literacy, job training, workforce readiness, a whole host of things. So, for example, one of our partners that many folks know nationally is Dress for Success. They work with women who are looking to, again, get a next level job or even start their own small business. So they are providing lots of education. We don't want to duplicate those efforts. So what we look to is to find the right partners who are doing great work. And then what they typically do is they leverage Thrive funds as a gap filler or even an incentive. So for someone who's completed financial literacy programming at Dress for Success or one of our other neighborhood partners, sometimes the agency will say, sign up for Thrive Funds. You've done a great job in this 6-month or 6-week program. Here are some resources to kind of help set you on a trajectory. So again, we really look to the expertise of partners that are already doing this work. And we're the gap filler, that family who, oh no, you earn 50 cents too much an
Yeah.
hour and you don't qualify for a child care subsidy. Maybe
Yeah.
Thrive Funds will help you, because we see too often there are folks who will turn down a better paying job because the increased income that they might receive will not be sufficient to offset a loss of benefits. So we want to provide that bridge so that they're encouraged, take the next level job. If you had $100 a month extra of gas cards, you're going to be able to build a savings and then continue on the trajectory. So, I'm sorry for a long-winded answer, but I think if everyone looks within their community, you will find neighborhood organizations that are already working to support low-income working families. And so we're just there to amplify their efforts and cheer their clients on.
Let's take a break to understand what Chezuba is. Everyone at some point ponders on how this beautiful life can be made more meaningful. Maybe you're a leader trying to enhance your employees' experience at your organization. Or you already work for the community and seek volunteers with state-of-the-art skills to strengthen your nonprofit. Whatever your situation, know that you can make a difference. Chezuba began with this very vision. A vision to facilitate every skill and every passion in the world in meeting a social need. Corporate volunteering has several benefits for both businesses and organizations. In parallel, experienced and enthusiastic volunteers join NGO workers, enabling them to serve the community more effectively. Chezuba offers everyone looking to add purpose and meaning to their lives a chance to connect or volunteer virtually with nonprofit organizations from over 100 countries around the world. Visit www.chezuba.net and explore opportunities to find meaning. Chezuba, your platform to do good. And now, back with our guest. Yeah, you're doing a fantastic job, and I think it's a pretty foolproof method, right? I mean, you know how to make that sustainable and help them out through that situation. So, at your organization, I see you have everything sort of worked out. So, do you face any challenges at all?
Oh, absolutely. We're still young in this journey. This is our second full year of operations. And, being a founder is not for the faint of heart. Working in nonprofit is not for the faint of heart. So we are a platform organization. So like any platform, you're speaking to two sides. So in our platform, there is for sure no lack of hardworking organizations who are working with families who need practical resources that, Thrive Funds can help them secure. On the other side, we're really looking to identify those financially secure households who want to help the working poor and they don't know how. And so right now, our major challenge is getting our message out to more of those folks who are financially secure and want a way to be helpful. So ours is, like for many not-for-profits, ours is a challenge of having a megaphone to say, we're here. And oh, by the way, come take a look at some of the stories of families that are right in your neighborhood. Who are working really hard and just need a boost.
A little bit of a boost, yes, yes. So yeah, you can see that on this podcast as well, and please share your website here. With that, we will end this podcast.
So we are at thrivefunds.org. It's very simple. And immediately when you log on to thrivefunds.org, you will see family narratives. And I just want to make sure folks understand that these are written by the families themselves, by the head of household. And it's really important for these families to not only share their barriers, but they also really like sharing the goals that they have for their families, the dreams that they have for their families. And so what's really gratifying for us is when families get their request funded, they're happy to get the resource, but more importantly, they feel excited that someone took the time to understand their situation and to read their story.
Absolutely. And like Albert Einstein has said, the value of a man resides in what he gives and not in what he is capable of receiving. So, what you are doing here is amazing. It is fantastic, phenomenal. And thank you so much for talking to us. And I hope everybody listening to this visits your website.
Thank you so much, Tej.